How's everybody doing? Let's give it more few minutes before we start this session. This is my first stream. I'm just starting out multi-streaming. We're both on YouTube and Twitch. Yeah, so welcome. For those who don't know me, my name is Jorge Ramirez, developer advocate for Wilderness Labs, and I have the coolest job. I think I get to do all these different projects using Meadow and try to instruct people and get to know our platform more and more. And they can, what based on my projects, they can pivot them, modify them, and try to make them with their own IoT solutions using .NET and Meadow, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so now we're going to the first. I already published a project about using Meadow with Azure IoT Hub, and today we're going to take this a step further. I'm going to show you how to create a digital twin. Is anybody in the chat? Okay, yeah. If you have any questions, please write down on chat either on Twitch or YouTube. I'll keep an eye out. And yeah, feel free to interrupt me with questions. I'll be there. I'll be here, and I'll just try to keep everybody all their questions answered as we go. Yeah, I see more people trickling in. Just wait a couple more minutes. Um, yeah, so sorry, I got a bit of a cold. It's just recuperating. So yeah, it might be a little coffee and sniffy at times. Um, but yeah, I see more people trickling. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so I'm streaming right from my home office over here, and I don't believe the stream has started. Huh. Okay, yeah, I think what happened there, I started another YouTube stream, and so the one on StreamYard didn't start. Let me see if I can do something about that real quick. Hold on. Are there people here? Hmm. Keep an eye out. I have two people waiting there. I just messaged and put the link to try to get reroute people to the other channel that we are live. Cool. Welcome. Wow, big 26 people. Welcome everybody. Cool. Um, yeah. So I think we just get started. I'm going to do a little change here of my view. So, for those who don't know us, again, I'm a developer advocate for Wilderness Labs. I have the coolest job. My idea as a developer advocate to create content to instruct people to use our platform, get familiar with it, come up with their own products, their own IoT solutions, and also offer support. We have a public Slack um, that you can all join. We have over 1,000 or close to 1,000 people there, and they have very cool projects they're building, and they're doing show and tells, and we have a support channel there that people ask their questions if they're struggling with anything. Me and other members of the team are there all the time to try to help everybody unblock them and continue on with their projects. So yeah, we're everywhere. We're on GitHub, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever it's called these days. We have Instagram. Be sure to make us to a follow. And the kind of projects I built here, we're all based. They're all in live on Hackster. It's one of the coolest platform that I've seen to instruct or create, document these projects from start to finish. We have diagrams for each one to show you exactly how you should wire them. Um, and yeah, I think we have close to over 71 projects at the moment. So there's lots and lots and lots to go through here. And yeah, some have more views than others. Some people uh, have passion for trying out Bluetooth or configuring Wi-Fi over Bluetooth as well using a Maui application, things like that. And the one that we're going to work today will be to create a digital twin using Azure, and we're gonna use this project, the IoT Hub project, with Project Lab, which is our IoT accelerator. It's a cool Meadow powered device that has a bunch, several components there already built in. So you don't need to breadboard and put everything together. You can just start. Taking this out of the box and just start using all the different sensors and that has built in. I think I have. Let me show you a little bit of what this baby has equipped here. So yeah, we have environmental sensors, we have a piezo speaker, we have motion sensors, we have also IoT terminals, we have these convenient connectors that you can plug in even more devices to your board, either using the micro bus or the microelectronica connectors on the left. We have Grove connectors on the right by Seat Studio. And so no need breadboarding, just plug in any peripherals there and you're good to go, which is really cool. I always like to carry this whenever I need to work on the go. I don't need to bring all my components and my breadboard and everything and start to wire everything together. This is just a simple, just a little package that has everything built in, which is pretty awesome. All right, welcome everybody who is still tuning in. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get started. This session. This is where we're all here, right? So I'm going to first show you the application fully running, the end result, and then we're going to start from scratch and try to build it together. And so let me power up my board here. Set up my camera. Let me know if the volume of the background music, if it's too loud, and I can do something about that. Just want to have something in there. I don't like the silence. Give me 1 second to set up the camera. Oh, there we go, Pixel 2. There we go, start. Let's see what we have here. Okay, get out the light. Okay, right now this is not going to start. And I'll tell you why in a moment. Let me first set up this, all this here. Yeah, the answer is we need to create a SaaS token to authenticate with Azure and start sending the data. And I think mine has been it's outdated. So let us do this real quick. So Where is my Azure command? Where? Give me 1 second. Where did I put this command? Secure notes. Okay. Here we go. So we need to enter we need to enter a few parameters. You know, this is a resource that we have in Azure, and there are a series of components that are built in here. So I am going to have, in fact, I can show you right now the things that involved to have this digital twin working. So let me bring up the Azure portal to show you what's this about. So for a digital twin, basically we have a test resource group that has a bunch of resources. Don't be intimidated by everything we have here. Basically, you'll need 3 things. You'll need an IoT hub, which is what Meadow is going to send the data to, and then this will trigger an Azure function, which is another resource. Basically, think of it as a function that lives on Azure that has only one single function, a single purpose. So anything that will be coming in, it processes it, it sends out, or it calls or invokes something else. So in this case, this Azure function is going to receive the message with the data coming from the IoT hub, is going to process it, and then it's going to update the digital twin that eventually is going to make its way to the Azure digital twin resource, which is this one right here. So if we go here, and we have an Azure Digital Twins Explorer, with something that Microsoft already has built in. The digital twin has an API that you need to write logic and try to programmatically do all these things to create a model and update models or do relationships and whatnot. Oh, I need to log in. Let me log in here for a second. We do run query. So this little graph for the Digital Twin Explorer. Let me see if I can remove this. And so there is my Meadow device that I created earlier, and this has a model, right? So if we view the model, we'll have a temperature, humidity, and pressure, which are all these are captured in the Project Labs BME 688 environmental or atmospheric sensor. So periodically, it's going to start reading the environmental room here at the office, and then it's going to send this to IoT Hub. The Azure function gets triggered, and then it'll update its counterpart or its digital twin, which is like think of it as a virtual instance of my Project Lab on the cloud, which is pretty. It's useful because you can do things like using machine learning. You can also do things like create simulations. You can have a whole simulation of a plane and then start playing with different parameters about, what if the wind gets this hard, or it's the wind is blowing too hard, or what if we push the engines up to a certain speed, what will happen with the other things. It's trying to make all this different simulation without having to actually crash a plane, experimenting about what will be its limits. So it's very useful for that. We're not gonna do a plane. We're not gonna do a digital twin of a plane. We're gonna start simple. We're gonna do a Project Lab that's gonna simply get data from my room here, and then it's just gonna send it over to its counterpart here in digital twin. So before we do that, we can see also that I have this test device and it show me all the different values here. But let me write all the different parameters here. Oh, you're gonna see my Wi-Fi credentials here, but that's okay. I can change it later. So as I mentioned before, we have the IoT hub. So it's going to ask what's the name of the IoT hub. So I believe I call it test IoT hub. It had the IoT hub also has a list of devices. So you have to make sure that they both match the test device ID. And the SAS token. The SAS token, you'll need to generate it with the Azure CLI. So let me create this real quick. So this is the test here. This will be the test device. Okay. And I think I call this test resource group. I normally just have like stick one word and then I put the rest of the name of the resource, so it's making it easier for us to understand. I mean, to remember all these different values. And then finally we need the primary resource. So I think I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but that's okay. We can do this later to also refresh the memory. We need to go to shared access policies. Because right now, like, we're creating a SAS token because the cool thing about IoT Hub is when you're managing your device, you don't need to go through all the hurdles about without it. You'll need to create validation keys and try to make all that security and all that authentication stuff to communicate your Meadow or your IoT device to the cloud. So IoT Hub kind of does that all for you when you start creating, like, you know, giving all the proper values. So you skip all that part. So I enter here in this, and now we can copy all this command here. And now I enter the command. There we go. I got my little SAS token here. Perfect. We copy this little guy here and we place it right here. Cool. And now we have our little board connector, little board here. You can actually leave this on here for a little bit. And then we can, oh, there it is, COM3. Cool. Perfect. And now actually I'm gonna do just a little reset here to make sure that the deployment's gonna go through. So we plug it in, and then I go and I click deploy. Let's see how that goes. I want to see if I can keep this always on top. There we go, always on top. All right, cool. So we also have this big, beautiful screen here on the project lab. So in the project, I use our in-house graphic library called Micrographics. And this helps us to, draw shapes, draw text, draw images as well. So I went fancy and I wanted to give some user feedback. And I'm neat like that. I want to, in this case, when the app just starts, it'll give me a little splash screen, and then it'll start joining the network. And once it joins the network, it'll start initializing the Azure IoT Hub APIs to connect to it, and finally we'll just start activating the sensor every 5 or 10 seconds, and it'll start sending that information over. Let's see if more people are waiting for the other stream. There's nobody there. Okay, cool. Let's just wait for a second. Okay, the transferring is happening right now. Okay, so this thing takes a little bit. I set the configuration to be debug, so it's gonna send over the DLLs and the PDBs, which is useful whenever you're going to debug, and they're also necessary. So yeah, you can actually debug this if you want. I'm kind of tend to just use deploy, and I use debug as if I need it because it's much faster if you're just doing deploy. Okay, hopefully this thing works. Let me just see if I can lower this light so we don't get a lot of glare here. Has anybody here has used Meadow at all? Can you please write in the chat? I want to see how detailed should I be, or should we all just yeah. Let's see. Okay, so the splash screen is going. You can see I have a little logo. I have a status there on top. It says connecting. Now I join my network, so you can see the connector, the Wi-Fi indicator going on. And now it's going to start creating the connection, as you can see in the output here. So it's going to start creating the IoT Hub connection with Azure. Hopefully it goes well. Cool. All right, let's see what happened. Negotiation failed with SysN. All right. Let's try this one more time. I want to make sure that I copied over the right values here. So, nope, that's not the one. Oh, I know what the problem is. Test IoT hubs, I think it's called. So, go here. That was the issue. Oh, and this is test device. I think actually this is gonna be okay. Let's try this one more time. Oh, Dark Anvil Labs have used Meadow. Awesome, cool. And Meek Koike also used Meadow. Awesome, nice. Yeah, we come a long way. I remember the days that I had the V1, and we only started use it. We were able to just blink the onboard LED using a Linux like a Linux subsystem, and yeah, it was it was quite a trip to get a little LED to build, but it's come a long way. Now you can even run Meadow on desktop, so you can run it even on your Windows machine or Linux embedded device. So you can literally run Meadow like on a Raspberry Pi or on a Terminal, which is kind of like a Project Lab, similar form factor as a screen. It's made by Seed Studio, but it's only running has a Raspberry inside, and so it's running a Linux Debian in. So it's much beefier, much powerful for everything that it has there, and yeah, you can even run Meadow on an Avalonia app or a Maui application as well. We have samples on the Hackster projects. I built a couple there, and it's pretty cool. I really like that I have the ability to run Meadow on a WinForms environment, so I can run it on my machine using WinForms. It's especially useful for creating a user interface that way. That way you don't go into the hurdles of calculating all the values and sending your application all the time to your Meadow board, and then it'll load, and then you see what's going to happen. Yeah, this thing's still not working. all right. I think I'll try one more time, and then we can try to see if we can recreate this. Yeah, I think it was definitely because I wrote, yes, test IoT hubs. I don't know why I put that S at the end. Test device, test resource group. Yeah, and I copied the name, the primary key. That's why I didn't fail the CLI. All right, let's do this real quick, and then we can wrap up and start building this thing. All right. Okay. Well, we wait to do. Um, yeah, I think Xcode. I'm using it, but seems to be having Wi-Fi connection issues. Yeah, Wi-Fi. We're having a little bit problems with the network, with the Wi-Fi networks, but we have top priority right now in fixing this stability issues that the Meadow OS is having right now, including on the network stack. So I have found those problems too. Xcode 007. Yes, I think I needed to create redo the SAS token because I think I had the hub name here. I had a test IoT hubs instead. I had test IoT hub instead of IoT hubs, so I needed to redo it, and hopefully this time will go well. This is first stream solo, so it might be a little scuff at times. I'm trying to do my best to have this as clean as possible. We'll probably edit this video, and then we'll have the video on demand on YouTube, and we'll have everything, the correct information there. Are there any devs working for Microsoft Azure using Meadow? People on the inside? Not that I know of. We've been promoting this into several in all our social platforms, including tagging Azure advocates. I don't think I've seen anybody from the Azure team making anything with Meadow. There are some Microsoft folks that they have a Meadows and they're working, they're playing with it. They really like it. In fact, we had a public contribution to make the VS Code extension. It was made by somebody who worked at Microsoft, so it was pretty cool. All right, cool. So this time it worked. Finally, we got the connection going, and now you can see the data sent. So it's going to start sending data there. You can see there my temperature, my humidity, and my pressure on the output device. So if all goes well, this means if we go to the Azure Digital Twin Explorer and we run a query here, these values should be changing. There we go. We had a 39 before on humidity, and now it's 45. And so every time your Meadow application is running, I mean your IoT hubs getting data is sending it over to IoT hubs. This is going to again go to Azure Function and make its way to update its digital twin in the Azure Digital Twin. So we can all see it here on the Digital Twins Explorer. Okay, cool. That's demo time to see what the end result is. Let's do our best and try to see if we can put this together. There is quite a little bit of piping that we need to do, but that's okay. I have this Azure account that we all share, Wilderness Labs. John Muir is, we have it under alias John Muir. I think it was like a good wilderness explorer. It was historic person. Don't quote me on that, but I think Brian picked the name because it goes along with the theme about being Wilderness Labs and the wilderness nature. So yeah, let's first start with resource group. So the first thing we'll need to do is create a resource group, which is the one that's going to group all the resources that we'll need to get this project going. We got more comments in on Twitch. I have a friend who is still at Microsoft who I meet with discuss Meadow projects. While he is in the Azure core, Meadow is for fun. Yeah, cool. And can you also share the functions app code? Yes, of course. We're going to go through all of that. Let me actually bring up my OneNote script because I want to make sure that I don't miss any steps because Yeah, this will take a bit, but let's see if we can get this working. So let's first start with a resource group. We're an Azure portal. You can also sign up, and this will also be on the free tier. So anybody who wants to once has a credit card, they'll just put your credit card, but they won't charge you. It's just to verify your majority of age or whatever. And so also, if you plan on using resources and you go nuts, then there could be a bill coming in. But we're gonna keep things solo. We're gonna send a couple messages. We're gonna keep it cheap. So yeah, let's just start. So we need a resource group name. So I'm gonna just start this with Jorge Devs. It's my online presence handle, and we're gonna do resource group here. And I'm going to do and point all this to the west side of US. I'm also like on the west side in Canada actually, and beautiful BC. And yeah, I wanted this to be close to me, so west to US, create. Cool. So we created our Jorge Devs resource group. We're gonna go here, and the first thing we're gonna do is actually, let's create our Azure Digital Twin. So I look on top, Azure Digital Twins. Here we go. So we don't have any Azure Digital Twins, of course. Let's create one real quick here. There's my new resource group. That's the umbrella, is going to hold everything together. And for my resource name, so I'm going to call it again Jorge Devs Digital Twin. Yeah, let's do that. This is not too long. Okay. And you need to assign an Azure Digital Twins data role. There's a lot of permissions and a lot of so a lot of role management or things that you'll need to have to enable in order for this to work. So since I'm creating this resource, I want to be the Azure data owner role included as well. So let's create this right away. Also notice when I create these resources, sometimes it takes a little bit of time for Azure to just catch up. And I remember I was first building this thing, I added some values and like, why is it not showing up? And then I take a bathroom break or get some water, and I come back, restart, and I refresh, and the values are shown there. So it's it's I think it's a big platform, so there's a lot of going on that we don't know, and that's probably why it takes a little bit of time. If you have a VS Pro sub through work or a student, you can get monthly Azure credits. What better way to burn those Azure credits on? Yes, that's right. I remember I was a student at college, and we also had what's that thing called? It was a Microsoft Foundation subscription or something like that, and also I did make use of those Azure credits. Yeah, it was pretty cool. All right, so it says deployment is complete. Let's go to the resource. Okay, cool. So one thing that we need to do here is let's check the access control. Again, we need to make sure that we have the Azure Digital Twins data owner role enabled here. That's important for us to get it to work. I think it's a permission that we need to enable in order to the Azure function to connect with this resource. So it's important that we have it there. And I think other than that, for this resource in particular, what we need to do now is actually upload the digital twin model. So let me log in here. I think this is John Moore. Next. Hopefully it goes through. No more MFA codes. Thank goodness. Okay, cool. Right, so we have here our Digital Twins Explorer site. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to upload DTDL. It's a Digital Twin Definition Language. I think it was partly created by Microsoft when they were still building, and digital twins was a thing, and it kind of like uh, became a little bit of a standard. So I have one here that I'm going to show you. Let's do open with. Hold on. Visual Studio Code. There we go. Cool. So what we have here on screen, we have, this is what we call a DTDL. It's in a JSON format in this case, and you can see there are several properties here that we'll need. We'll have an ID for the model itself, and this is all enclosed in what we call an interface. And so the interface have things like properties, properties that will be values about what the model is, or yeah, general information like that. We also have telemetry, which is telemetry are the values that contains the actual data from sensors or readings that they're just going to be stored there and processed. And we can also do things here to establish relationships. Again, if we think about the plane simulation, for example, we'll need to have several of these models depending on, the wheels, the engine, the wings, all that stuff is just going to be, you can compartmentalize and also create components and create a relationship over all of them. We're not going to dive that much into all of that. We're going to keep it simple. So in this case, we're just going to create DTDL using our project lab, and notice we have in its contents will be the telemetry properties that are the temperature, the humidity, and the pressure. You can also specify what kind of values are in the case are properties, and in the schema I think it supports booleans and integers, doubles, strings. I think you also support them as well. In this case we're going to use double all of them. So when you come up with your DTDL, we can now upload this up here. So go here, go to downloads, Project Lab model, open. And now my model is successfully uploaded into the digital twin. So I can create a digital twin. Let's create Jorge Dev's device. And there I have my little digital twin. This is my little virtual project lab right here. So I'm going to set these values to 0. I had problems before that I was trying to get this up for the first time, and the digital twin wouldn't upload, and it was because it couldn't find these properties because they weren't initialized. I don't know, I just found it that I needed to just set them to 0 or something, and then it just started to work. So once you update all this, you click save, and now you have your digital twin here ready. What would be the next step? So let's create an IoT hub. Okay, so let's go home, let's go to my resource group again. There's my digital twin. That's the first piece of the puzzle. Now let's create an IoT hub here. There we go. Create. There's my Jorge Dev's resource group. Now let's do Jorge Dev's IoT hub, singular this time. West US. And so again, we have a free tier here that, for experimentation. Has anybody here worked with Azure IoT Hub or anything like this to add some cloud integration with Meadow? Make sure to write in the chat. Yeah, at first I wasn't, I'm not an expert on Azure. I even was an expert in I'm also not an expert still on electronics, on using IoT, but with Meadow, it made things really easy for me. I remember I also, like in my early days as a developer, I wanted to do mobile applications. So I started with Windows mobile, Windows Phone, and then Xamarin came along, and they were like, no way, I can make applications using .NET to Android and iOS. Hell yeah! So I got Azure. I got into Xamarin, and I started making applications to other platforms using my .NET skills, which is pretty cool. And same story, kind of similar story with IoT. I remember I started a little bit working with Arduino, and I've done a little C in college days, but sometimes you're very limited. Like there's a learning curve about not only learning IoT and embedded development, you also need to learn how to put all the libraries together and how Arduino worked. But then Meadow came along, well, Arduino at the time, and it was like, what? .NET on an embedded device? No way. And then I started looking at it, and it's cool. We can stay in our little .NET bubble and try to get new, try to build new things or cool things using your existing skills, which is pretty awesome. Okay, yes, so no IoT Hub here. I have not, but with Meadow yet. Oh, I have, but not with Meadow yet. Okay, that's fine. Nice. Sandra says yes. Cool. Not with Meadow. Interested in connecting the two Meadow IoT Hub. Nice. Cool. Yeah, that's what we're here. Take a little bit more time, but let's see. I think this is gonna work. So again, as I mentioned, this Azure just takes its time to deploy and do its thing. All right, so MX chip, ESP32, ESP8266. Nice. Yeah, no, I have, okay, now we Meadow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I haven't dove that much in low level embedded programming. I remember in high school I started, but I had big tutors like engineers helping me doing a little rover thing using a controllable chip. I think it was called PIC at the time, and we were using C with a little programmer, and then we made the rover move around. Okay, so had a hard time getting a Meadow device. Oh, sorry to hear that. I wonder whereabouts are you located. Sometimes we ship worldwide, but sometimes the shipping just takes longer to get the Meadow device on certain regions. So okay, so we got our IoT hub running here. And I think what's next that we need to do, let me move this, where is my script? There we go. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we create our device. So we go to our devices, and there's a devices section here. Again, this is super important. I had this problem. I had a problem. I had problems updating my digital twin the first time. It was because there was a mismatch between the name of my digital twin and the name of the device on my IoT hub. So it was Jorge Dev's device here. So we gotta make sure they match. Cool. So we got that. And now we need to create an Azure function project. So I'm just going to bring up our existing project so we can move this a little further. I don't want to start going and building one from scratch because I think I'm going to be prone to many mistakes. So I have this project. All this will be on the Project Lab samples repo. So eventually you can also like take a look at the code, and then you'll learn how this thing works, and you can also just use it and deploy it on your Azure function as well. So we have an Azure function project created here, and basically the only thing you need to do is there are a few NuGet packages you'll need to add here. I think you need the Azure identity to create the credentials. You need the Azure Digital Twins core, obviously, because the Azure function is going to send data to a digital twin, so there's APIs there that you'll need, that the Azure function will need to communicate and send that data over. There are some other ones. There's the, yes, I think we need the HTTP net, and yeah, I don't know what the point is of a couple more here, but these are basically all the NuGet packages you'll need um, to get this working. So if we go to the function, notice we have an ADT instance URL. This is ADT Azure Digital Twin service URL. So here you'll need to have the host name of the digital twin, which the Azure function is going to communicate and going to send the data over. And then we have a function name, IoT Hub to Twins. So this will be the function that will have an event grid event coming in from the IoT Hub. Is going to create the default Azure credentials, going to create credentials, and we're going to create a Digital Twins client. So this is the object that is just going to grab, it's going to do Digital Twin, connect, passing over the ADT instance URL. So it's my resource that has a URL, or my host URL for my Digital Twin, and we create a client for that. And then once you create that, you can also, you'll get the information coming in from IoT Hub. You get the information, like you actually decode or whatever, get that data message, and then you can do all sorts of things. In this case, I'm getting the values for temperature, humidity, and pressure here, and then I do a JSON patch document that it'll be the JSON that'll I'm specifying the fields of my DTDL model, and I'm going to send these over with the new values that they're coming in. So there's the temperature value, temperature, humidity, and pressure, and finally I do update digital twins async, and there's the update twin data, which is this, that'll have all the latest sensor readings on the device to your digital twin. So it's just less than 75 lines of code. This yeah, I think this method is even shorter, like 50 lines of code. Not too bad. And I was following a tutorial earlier, a 2-year-old tutorial, and I was having trouble decoding the message. Turns out that eventually the data that you're sending in from IoT Hub to the Azure function, it comes in a base 64 string. So you need to first get that base 64 decoded, and then you turn it into the JSON string, and then finally is when you're able to decode it. So that was a very important step. One of the big snags that I hit while I was putting this together. So is this available for on-demand watch? Yes, Sandra. Well, I will also have it there on our learning sessions playlist on our YouTube, so you can follow along later as well if you want to see the if you want to see it later, if you're not available to right now. Okay, so now we have the Meadow Azure function, and now we click publish here. And now let's create a profile. Actually, let me clear this profile. Yeah, we want to create a profile from scratch because we are creating kind of like a digital twin from scratch using the John Moore account. So we create an Azure function publish here. Oh yes, I need to use my John Moore account. Oh, it's just giving me to log in again. They really like that. They really like you to constantly log in into your accounts. It's a little annoying, but is it this one? I did not find. Yeah, continue. Come on. And I think my music is off. Is it here again? Whoops. I have to change that later. Oh, beautiful. Hold on. This one, continue. Oh, I see. He wants me to enter the email. Sorry, guys. That's why I showed you the thing working at the beginning, because I know that's eventually I'm playing with fire here, going live and showing you this firsthand. Let me see. Not my fault though. It's Visual Studio. Let's copy a password here. Yes, yes. Sign in, please. Wow. It was. It says John. So it's gonna send me a code now. It's good that we can edit all this stuff and then we can move on. Oh, where is my code from John Weir? There it is. Got my code. Alright, can you let me go on, please? Thank you. Alright, we're back in track. Sorry, guys. Let's continue here. So, it's gonna name you, it's gonna be creating a new function. Azure Function app creates this name, which I'm not quite fond of. I'm gonna do Jorge Dev's Azure Function. And let's do, I need to pick my resource group, not the Cloud Shell. I'm going to use my Jorge Dev resource group. Consumption, I'll use the consumption. I'm going to leave everything. This is the Azure storage. There are other resources that it'll be included in Azure Functions, something like application insights. Now that's an important one. Sometimes it helps me to monitor the logs. So that way I can see the data coming in from IoT hubs and see in the console if the function would go well or it was giving me errors. This helped me a lot to debug and get this to work. And then there's an Azure storage here. I guess it's just to store the logs somewhere. I'm just gonna leave all this. I'm gonna leave all this as default. There are some things that will be created in Australia. They're set up by default. I don't want you to do that. But let's move on. So we have our Jorge Dev's Azure function going. And I think this will take a little bit of time. We're getting there. I would say I think we're 2/3 away from getting this to work. Yeah, remember I first learned about Azure Functions and a little bit more about Azure using the Microsoft Learn career path, and I got certified a couple years ago for the Azure Fundamentals certification. So it has a glimpse and a tour of everything Azure. It's a really, really big platform. It has a lot of things. Sometimes, the more you know, I guess the more convenient and you get to use more stuff. But when you're new, you go there, you just get lost and intimidated with everything that it's going on there. But normally it's cool to learn when you have a problem and you want to just try to do a solution rather than just going everywhere and see, oh, this works like this and this works like this. In this case, I'm like, I want to send data from my Meadow device to Azure. How do I do that? And so That's where I found out about Azure IoT hubs. And then I'm like, okay, that's good, all good and well. Let's see if I can create a digital twin and take a little bit step further. Okay, so this has been created. Let's do finish. It's creating a profile. What's my chat doing? Okay. No new comments. Cool. Yeah, so as I was saying, Meadow's pretty awesome that we it's not only tied to hardware. We can also do things like you can also run Meadow on your computer right now if you'd like. And we have these cool samples here. If you go to Meadow desktop samples repo, there are a few projects here that'll get you started. So this is a cool one. This is the one that I use this one a lot. It helps me to create user interfaces really quickly and using WinForms. So basically I still use micrographics, and so the end result of having this view, you can basically just copy this over, paste it on a Meadow application, and you run it, and then you'll see the same thing running on your device. You know, given that you're making these at the same resolution the display that you're gonna run. So this speeds up making interfaces a lot by a lot. Normally, sometimes I get it wrong. The alignment or their margin is wrong, so I have to just off by 2 pixels. So I just subtract 2 or add 2, redeploy again, and then wait again to transfer. Meadow boots up, it loads the app, runs, and then I get to see the end result. With WinForms, you'll just constantly just build and run, and you can see it right away. Do you know how, and if you can visualize the data in an actual 3D model of a room in a digital twin environment? That seems a little bit far ahead of what my experience, but maybe I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there might be. Again, this is the digital twin has an API, so yeah, you can definitely, yeah, you can make Unity, for example. You can write your own logic as a visualizer for digital twins using Unity, and then you can also include your Azure Digital Twins APIs and packages in there, and yeah, you can get creative of showing all that data. Oh, this was ready for a while. It didn't close. Okay, so it's ready to publish. So let's publish this to the to Azure portal. Let's see how it goes. Unity. I remember I used Unity for a bit, but I'm not very good at gaming development, even though I tried several times. I remember I made a lunar, a modern version of a lunar lander, a 2D graphics ship that I wanted to land on flat surfaces on a very coarse, stark level, and I wanted to make it progress every time. But yeah, that's about it. Until they charge you for it, yeah. Yeah. All right. Big controversy happening with Unity right now. Okay, this is still publishing. I said it takes a while. Creating, and doing things on Azure takes a bit of time. Okay, making sure your function has the right settings to run. So still doing things. Here we can see begin. I remember there was a way that I could see the output of this, but just gonna wait for a little bit longer. Yeah, I think the majority of things that are left is we need to turn on the system assigned for the Azure function on the portal. This will lets us do it'll let IoT Hub communicate with Azure function without having to add any credentials, additional information there. There's something about permissions that we need to add there. Oh, publish succeeded, perfect. And then we also need to add that setting for the digital twin service URL. So the Azure function knows, okay, I get in the data, where I'm going to send it, and so we need that URL as well. Okay, so this has been published. Thank you. And now if we go to, no, this is not the wrong site. It's the wrong site. So I go to my John Moyer account. Here we go. Home. And if I go open my Jorge Devs resource group, there we go. So we have my Jorge Devs Azure function. And notice the other ones that are added here, that one's for inside, the other one's for storage. They're related to Azure function, but we don't need to look at those at the moment. So go here. And then we need to go, once we're here, notice that we have our Azure function, and I don't see my function here though. I'll give it some time, but in the meantime, we can move on and set up the other things. I was having this problem yesterday when I was practicing. I don't know why Visual Studio says it's all good, everything's published, but I don't get to see my method there. But for now, I'm just gonna continue. Hopefully Meadow underneath Azure underneath the hood is getting all that set up for me. So let's go to identity. So we'll need to turn the system assigned identity thing. Okay, so we do Azure role assignments, and now here we need to add the digital Azure Digital Twin Data Owner. So we'll do it at a level of a resource. So Jorge Devs resource group, perfect. And now I do Azure Digital Twin Data Owner. Save. Yeah, exactly. Azure always shows things only right before you're about to give up. Exactly. Oh man. This is the first time that I was setting this up. It's you're new, you're learning things, and at the same time, Azure's messing with you. Like, see this? I added a role assignment, and it says no role assignments, and then I was like adding it and adding it and adding it. But it always wants to do a bio break or grab a water, and then you come back, and then oh look, it shows up. So it's kind of like the trust me bro. It's there. So I added it. So if we go to the Azure function, let's go to, yes, the other thing we're going to need to do is we'll go to the configuration. Where is that configuration? Configuration, here we go. At the same time, I'm gonna need the URL for the digital twin. So I'm gonna go to the digital twin to grab that right away. Warhead devs. Oh, I wrote this one wrong though. Warhead dev, I'll need to remember that. And I copied the name here, the host name. You'll copy this, and then you go to your Azure function, you add a new application setting. So as you remember, if we go to the function, ADT service URL, that's the value of that configuration we're going to add. This is ADT service underscore URL. And then I paste this. But also another important step that I had struggled with is that you actually need to put the HTTPS here. And I think you can leave the default setting there. Click OK. And you got to click save here, otherwise we're going to lose it. It's going to save, apply the values, and it's going to restart the Azure function. And I think we're in a good state. Oh yes, now we need to do is, I have IoT Hub, and we need to subscribe the event, the Azure function to an event on IoT Hub. So let's do that right now. So let's go to my Jorge Dev's IoT Hub. And then if you go to events, add event subscription here. And then, in this case, I'll just do ADT event subscription. This name is not important. Event grid schema, it's the one that we're using. ADT system topic. And then in this case, for the event types, what we're doing telemetry, because we're gonna send data to the Azure function. So, and finally, we're gonna do what's the endpoint type. We pick on the dropdown, we Azure function, and then we need to select an endpoint. Now, hopefully, my function is there. If not, that means that I'll have to republish again and see if it shows up. Looks like it didn't went in. It didn't make its way. All right, I'm gonna try to do another publish from Visual Studio. Hopefully we'll see a function there. That's an important piece to get this to work. Let's go here. Let's do publish. Come on, you can do this. Keep running. Probably gonna turn off. Yeah, Brian really did a good job doing the enclosure for this. I had the old one. I also have a 3D printer. I designed enclosures as well, but I just do boxes. So there was a previous version of a project lab, and it comes in this little box. So if I put it here and then I open it, I also had everything here pretty much. This is the previous generation of project lab, so now it has like a bigger screen, and it has, you know, the core compute model. This one has only the feather wing Meadow, so you can unplug this and use it in something else. This one already has just an embedded SMT, I think called Meadow, that it's normally the one that you will go with market with when you finish your prototype. When you do it in bulk, it's cheaper to manufacture your product. Okay, so this thing says that it has published. Hopefully we can see the product here, the function. There it is. Oh. Okay, awesome. All right, I made it. Okay, cool. So let's go back to my function here. I think I'm just gonna have to refresh this so it knows that, so we can find it this time. Yes, there we go. IoT hubs to twins. Let's go. Confirm. Perfect. And then we click create. All right, it's taking a sweet time. All right, cool. I think we have everything set up now. So again, we'll have to go and create a new SAS token with our project lab, and hopefully we'll see this updating once we start sending the data in. So let's do that right now. So we go to back to our Visual Studio, back to our Meadow Azure IoT project, secrets, and there's my Wi-Fi credentials. Let's do Jorge devs. Let me double check my names because I don't want to make sure that I have all the names right and I don't have to make multiple. So I have Jorge devs IoT hub. Jorge devs IoT hub. I'm sure I call this Jorge devs device, but I am going to make sure because I want to get this right at the first try. So we go to IoT hub, we go to devices. Jorge devs device, perfect. And there is the resource is Jorge devs resource group. Okay, so I need to copy these over here. There's also a online CLI, an Azure CLI online. So you don't need to download the CLI installer in your machine. I just got used to it, and so I just do it this way. But it's not required. So yeah, so whenever you need to create the SAS token, you just go to the IoT portal and the Azure portal, and you just do it that way. And then Jorge devs resource group. And then we need the primary, the connection string. So for that we go to the IoT hub. Is this the IoT hub? No. IoT hub here. We go to our shared access policies, the IoT hub owner, and then you copy the primary connection string, this guy here. And after the login parameter, and now I can copy all this command here. And I went through at least. So we copy this SAS token, and then we put it here. Done. Okay, so I think we're good to go. Let's try to plug in our project lab and see if this thing connects. We have our Meadow extension here. Pick my COM port, perfect. And deploy. Fortunately, this won't take us long deploying since I have the existing application, so the extension is smart enough to see what's changed, and it'll just updates. In this case, is the secrets class. Let's look at the output here. For all watching, thank you all for still tuning in. It's been a little bit of a long session. Hopefully we'll try to condense it down for once we get the end result, and you can have the walkthrough, the replay, and so you can get to see what the medium for information. Also cut those times where Azure wouldn't cooperate. Okay, so this is running now. Mono is enabled, perfect. Log level information. Initialize. There goes my screen. Where is my, oh, okay. There's my splash screen. Perfect. It's gonna start joining, try to join my Wi-Fi connection. All right, join my network. Now it's gonna create my Azure Azure IoT Hub client or connection. Create session, sender link. It looks like it's going well. There we go. Okay, creating messages. Cool, we love to see it. So let's go back here. And you can also see here, and if we go to IoT Hub, this is pretty cool. I remember when I first saw this, when I got it to work, I was so happy. If we go to overview, we have a little graph of incoming messages. So you can see the messages here coming in. In this case, there's gone three messages gone already. And now, if we go to the events, hopefully, see also some activity here happening. Or maybe not yet. I know sometimes it takes a while to see that information there. If we're not seeing activity in the event subscription here, that means that probably our digital twin is not going to refresh with values. Oh, it is though. Okay, so it's just Azure just playing games with me, but you can see here that the values are changing. This is my Jorge Devs device, and I think this is updating very slowly. 4329, 1013. It's interesting that it's not updating as much. Query. I wonder what's up with that. Let's take a look at that for a bit, and maybe we can end the stream there. Figure. This is the way that the thing that I use to yes. This is how I can see. This is also like a good opportunity to show you how you would diagnose any issues on your Azure function. So you can see like logs, and you can also see like a list of every time that's been triggered to see if it's been successful running it. So I'll play it. Okay, changes are applied. Perfect. Let's go this. Okay, cool. So I got that. So it seems like it is working. You can see all these events are triggered, and it says success completed successfully. So it says. But if you go to logs, you can also see a terminal here. And then it takes a bit to connect. There it is connected. And I don't think I did any changes. Because also what your digital twins, your DTDL model, those fields, temperature, humidity, pressure, they have to match with whatever you're setting from IoT Hub, and then at the same time, they match to what the Azure function is also going to update for the digital twin. So you can see the data coming in and the event that's being triggered. But it seems like it only, oh, there it is, it's going again. And no errors. So this seems to be working. I'm not sure, maybe Azure is being a little lazy today, not showing me the, let me try see if I can try to open the Digital Twin Explorer again. Maybe that's giving me some. Yeah, there we go. It changed again. Not by much, but obviously my temperature here shouldn't change too much. Okay, change a little bit more. Okay, cool. I think this is a good place to start wrapping up the stream. If you have any questions, please write them out there on the chat, and I can see if I can help you with that. Um, and again, thank you for all coming here. It was quite a risk me coming up with a demo live. You know, like Murphy's Law is out there and is always trying to get you, but hopefully, um, fortunately, we're able to get this to work. A couple hiccups with authentications in certain parts, including looking at you, Visual Studio. Um, but other than that, I think this went out pretty well. Pretty happy how it turned out. um, yeah, so let's go back to my. Where's my Streamlabs thing? Yeah, so let me know what would be the next. I'm gonna try to see if I can have a more routinely live session. So I'm open for feedback for make the stream better, and also I can also like brainstorm of you guys can message me over Slack, or all my handles are Jorge Devs. You want to I'm open for suggestions for the next live stream. One that I've been wanting to do for a while is try to get for those Raspberry users out there, maybe run a Meadow application using a Raspberry Pi. I think that might be an interesting one to try to get also people who Raspberry Pi is more popular, so they can still run Meadow applications on it. So it might be interesting for them to see how you can run and how you run .NET and how that platform works altogether. So I think that might be an interesting one. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I hope I get to see you on the next stream. And yeah, this will be on our YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe there, and also you can also let me know in the comments on the YouTube video about what would you like to see on the next live stream. Where can I buy one of those kits? Sandra, which kits are you talking about? If you're talking about the Project Lab, you can go to the Wilderness Labs. You could go to shop here, and we have several things here. We have the Meadow kit, any of your Meadows, yes. So if you go to store.wilderness.lab.co, you can get to see here all our catalog of products. You can get the basic, our Meadow feather. It also comes with a half-size breadboard here and this cool Wilderness Labs prototyping wooden board thing. So it's pretty handy to have the breadboard so you can start connecting things to it and play with it. If you want something more that is more compact, portable, and has already a bunch of stuff, as I mentioned, the Project Lab is pretty awesome. I remember I went to a trip on to Seattle once, and it was useful carrying this around. Like I remember it's kind of like it's hard when you have this and you put it in your bag and then LEDs drop or some cables disconnect and then you don't know where they are. Sure, they give you the advantage of plugging in more things, but a Project Lab has an old package that you can just carry in your airport or whatever and just throw it on the plane. I have this one, for example. This is for a prototype for a little 2D game using micrographics, and so I have this little D-pad that I did here. I also like doing neat breadboarding, so it's a pretty cool thing to do as well. But yeah, I think Project Labs is just pretty awesome because it has everything there built in. It has buttons, so you can do just user interfaces with that and interact them using the buttons or any other peripherals you can connect using growth sensors and everything. Um, yeah, so with that, I am going to end the stream. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you all.